Demon's Souls 5 is the new open-world Souls the Wildlife from a small independent studio called From Software. The geniuses behind such esteemed classics like Demon's Souls, Demon's Souls 2, Demon's Souls 4, now more demons. You start your maidenless journey by opening and closing the game until the Steam control configuration shows up, spending an hour designing your character, dying to my sleep paralysis demon, and waking up to your 1500 quid rent apartment owned by BlackRock. You can go two ways: the Chad I don't play tutorials way, or the way to the most difficult boss in the game. From there, you can continue straight to Stormville Castle or go to Caelid. We don't go to Caelid. It's got many strange and alien creatures, like women. Elden Bling is the brainchild of Hidetaka Miyazaki, the Dark Souls 2 man, and my procrastination personified. If George R. Martin helped Miyazaki write Elden Ring's story, it must be good, right? Yes it is, if you call the disconnected snippets of information that sound like the ravings of a mad schizophrenic good writing. I like to think he sent an email to Miyazaki that said, "Big tree and incest. What are the good things about Elden Ring?" Yes, the bad things. I'm on PC and this is a FromSoft game. This bitch with Super 8s. Of course, this confession means nothing if I don't talk about some of the aspects I hated and liked. Since this game is so big, it has a large and unique cast of enemies. Do you like crabs? How about bigger crab? Or sniper crab? Did you like Dark Souls 3 dogs? Well, now they come in multiple flavours of Monster Energy for your enjoyment. Travel far enough east and you might find the average Dublin citizen. Pro tip, bring a colossal weapon. FromSoft even brought back the deadliest enemy of all, Dark Souls 1 rats. They look cute and fluffy, until they stun like you to death. We all know birds aren't real. They're surveillance devices made by the government to monitor the rural proles. That's why they created death row birds to stop you from making chicken tendies laced with birdshot. With 80 odd summer bosses ranging from shit to absolute fucking Kino, the best are the Fire Giant, yourself, Rykard, the Void one. Side note, surprisingly enough, I've yet to see Vor smother Rykard, but I doubt it'll stay that way. Or Loon his persona, Radon the ICBM, and the best of all, the Tippy Mariner. Just look at his supreme boatsmanship, mountain years of practice, without a phone in sight. Just him, living in the moment. Don't mess with fire golems either. Not only are they pretty lit, they tend to hurt quite a bit. At this point, you'll probably notice the multiplayer elements. With the message system, you can create thousands of unique messages from the templates and gestures at your disposal. Despite that, the collective autism of the Elden Ring community is completely fixated on messages like dog, try finger butthole, Fortnite, which is a fan favourite because it confused the Japanese into thinking there was some sort of in-game event happening. Apart from the dog messages, you might spot the odd troll. I also may have partaken in such trolling. If you see red dots on the ground, this is where someone had recently died. My favourite pastime is to go to the Divine Towers at the Sea of a River lift and examine the bloodstains left behind. World building at its very finest. You can't talk about FromSoft games without mentioning their NPCs, and they're pretty good. After you stoned Godric to death, you can enter the Budget Nexus. Why is it the Budget Nexus? You can't see Melana's feet on the regular, so you'll just have to make do with the corn. It's got many cool NPCs like Edge Lord, a blacksmith, and a woman. The woman also debuffs you. What does From Software mean by this? I don't know. You'll just have to look up her wiki. Besides that, there's no reason to stay in the Round Table Hold. In the outside world where you can touch grass and seethe, there's plenty more people to talk to. There's the prawn man, he's pretty cool. The poo-poo consumer. Finally, my wife Ronnie, who is so small she needs to sit on a tower of books. Why is she my wife? Well, I do enjoy women speaking in Old English. During my travels with her, she also called me
a dogged fellow, aren't we?
So I like to think that was her way of flirting. If you continue her questline, you can get an even smaller version of her. Do you like the animes? Can you marry your anime waifu like Komi from Komi Can't Infiltrate? Do you wish Revy from the hit anime series Black Lagoon was real and you could marry her? Don't answer that, she's mine. Spoilers, receiving the Darkmoon Greatsword was a sign of marriage. If you return to her tower after finishing her questline and speak to the doll, this changes the ending slightly from calling you her fair consort eternal to
my dear consort eternal.
This is how you'll weed out the true non-believers. Elden Ring is an RPG, so you're given plenty of weapons to skin your victims like cats. Are you one of those based on strength pillaging your chads? The Guts Greatsword is very fun, especially with Giant's Hunt or Lion's Claw. Did you use all your runes to work out the library? Use the Darkmoon Greatsword, especially since fully upgrading it gives it an S rank in scaling. Charge it up with FP to give it increased magic, frost, health and poise damage, with subsequent heavy attacks creating very high poise damaging blades. It's very good against Radicon. especially when your concubine takes all the beatings. It also builds frostbite, which is bleed, but not cringe. My first playthrough involved the Guts Greatsword and incantations, until I decided that respecing to use my wife's sword was better. Did I feel sad not being able to kill people with a steel girder? Yes, but cooking blood while wearing his mask armor, using the Dark Moon Greatsword and getting the H stars ending was too funny not to do. Are you a gym enjoyer, dedicating your body and soul to God, who also happens to be an Evangelion fan? Get the Godslayer Greatsword. Once the Duskite Queen's armament of choice, this light colossal weapon, upon contact with your victim, burns your foe's flesh in black flames, sapping their health for a second. Its special attack also hits like your father's belt. Pair your slow attacks with a variety of incantations like Catch Flame, or both the animation cancel. And Rejection, to ruin your victim's day. Speaking of incantations, get Flame Cleanse Me, incredibly useful since of course the map is infested with super raids and Ranni's questline needs to cross a lake filled with lean. It also hurts you, so be careful. Why use incantations when you can stone people with rocks and magic rocks? Spells are another alternative to incantations with more offensive variety, like a fucking nuke. But do you know what's better than a big fuck off sword or some gay magic shit? A gun. I have no idea how it works, but max get out to +10 was the best decision I've done to date. Quick shout out to the Nox Flowing Blade, because that shit's pretty cool. His initial damage is good, especially against unarmored foes, but its Ash of War is very nice. Unfortunately it takes an age and a half to use. Fully charge the Carrying Piercer and Rip Through Arse for a cheap and viable strategy for free damage. Moving on to consumables. Don't sell the crystal darts.
Do not.
They're the best throwing knives in the game. See those little shits? Throw a dart or two to remotely send Elden Ring game journals takes to their brains and drive them insane. This works on anything stone based, including the Pinkas statues. Finally, Souls fans can have their cockfighting rings with their co-op friends and invaders. What about Ashes of War? They seem pretty useful. Very. Giant Hunt is particularly good because you can basically stun lock enemies. It's also an excellent roll catcher and figure check in PvP. Do look out for Phantom Slash. I found it has a very nasty trick of applying whatever status effect is on your weapon. PvP is fun when it works. I get that katanas are the best DPS weapon and I refuse to use them, but bullying someone with a Bleed Frost and a Poise Katana was invigorating. Unfortunately, PvP invasions are fucking dead, at least until the weekends. In order for you to be invaded, you must either have a co-op friend or pop a Furl Calling Finger Remedy and use Taunter's Tongue for solo invasions. This is 2 steps too many for solo invasions and completely unacceptable. I just want to do more figure checks. Is that too much to ask for? There's also pseudo fighting arenas, with a well-known one being at the Royal Ontario front gate, but it's not as fun as invasions. One of the selling points of Elden Ring was how I had the strongest boss to date, Malenia. For a loner strength shitter like myself, the only person I could truly depend on for a fight was myself, with Orpha's Stomp. I felt like a proud father watching my son stomp a woman to icy mulch, until she cut him to ribbons. Just to save you the 8 hours it took my remaining brain cells to figure out. Kill this knight's cavalry to get Bloodhound Step, pull on a cheap dagger and pull out when Malenia is about to go schizo. When trying to kill as many bosses as I could in my first playthrough, this was the worst boss I'd fought at that point, and even after killing her, I didn't feel any sense of achievement. Post brain rot me caved into the Rivers of Blood meme for the second duel, and sweet Jesus on a bike, that shit is scary. And before I get the she's an optional boss, it's also optional for you to kill you. While I have enjoyed my
359 hours,
I do have some genuine complaints. Malenia exists and I want to strangle her, consensually and non-consensually. I don't care if she's the hardest boss in the game, giving her a gay ass sweep attack that can drive you to the other side of the arena is not only cheap, but completely retarded. She is the epitome of artificial difficulty, solely because of that attack. Secondly, for the love of Christ, stop using tree spirits. Lastly, I despise the foreskin duos because they're a Walmart Orstein and Smo, but without substance, even if the fight is trivialized with sleep pots. That's it. I'm off to cleanse my brain with the warm inviting glow of a finished drug-fueled manic schizophrenic masterpiece. Have a good evening, everyone.